Hello once again, Star Wars and Unboxing fans. Welcome to another episode of Darth Tuba's Star Wars Unboxing Show. I'm your host, Darth Tuba. And today we kind of have another hodgepodge episode, lots of different items here. These are different items that I've kind of acquired over the years. And I just feel like we need to make some more space, so why don't we just do some nifty unboxings. When I take a look at stuff like this and I look at all the different stuff that has come out over the years, I'm just amazed. I mean, truly amazed at how far and wide the Star Wars brand reaches and all the different ways it's happened here. So what we have today, okay, we'll start over here on my left. We have the Revenge of the Sith limited edition collectible sculpture, from Code 3 Collectibles, okay? And Code 3 Collectibles was actually a, I think they might still be around, but I don't think they're doing Star Wars products anymore. But they essentially were doing a few replicas of some ships, and they actually did a fire. I think they do fire truck replicas, like miniature fire trucks. That's kind of what their main focuses are. And I know that they did a Skywalker Ranch Fire Department fire truck. And they also did Darth Vader's TIE Fighter, I think the Republic Cruiser, a few other items. And then they did some posters that were kind of three-dimensional. So that's one there. We also have kind of jumping. This came out obviously around 2005. I think I got it at Celebration 4? 4 or 5? 4. Celebration 4. No, I lied. Celebration 3. Excuse me, because that was the first celebration I went to, was Celebration 3. And then jumping way ahead to just a few years ago, we have a Force Awakens action figure. We have PZ4CO, who also made an appearance briefly in The Last Jedi. And going along with that, we have another figure, Sarko Plank. Again, not very common figures, not very common characters, but so I'm seriously doubting that their carded action figure will be of any real value. Again, jumping back to 2005, we have the Chocolate Empire little figurines. These are when Star Wars and the Mars brand that does M&Ms had a kind of a whole tie-in. I actually collected almost all of these. I have decided to sell most of them, but I decided to keep a couple here just for posterity, because it was a really cool thing to see. I also have a lot of plushes of them all, so I'm not going to miss them. All right, that's pretty cool. And then we have another titanium. Again, speaking of Darth Vader's TIE Fighter, we have the Darth Vader TIE Fighter titanium vehicle. And I think, again, like I have done with other ones, these include a plastic stand, like a casing. I'm not exactly sure yet if I'm going to unbox the whole thing like that or just take out the outer covering. We will decide. So lots of different stuff here, but just to show you, there's something for everybody when it comes to Star Wars collecting. So this is one I've always meant to unbox, and I'll probably end up trying to display it on a wall somewhere, just because it is three-dimensional. It is meant to be either like a picture stand, or it's meant to be hung up. So okay, we got, of course, our favorite things. We've got the really like almost like zip line stuff, which is crazy. Ugh. Okay, so get that out of there. Oop, gotta go the other way for this one. There we go. All right, got to be careful with this kind of thing because it is made of a breakable material. Boy, this is like, this is strange. Oh, there we go. All right, and of course it comes with all the correct things that you need. All right, I think that is everything that is in there. I'll drop that over here. Okay, so yeah, it looks like off the back here you've got your little, like this. Now this does come with, if I unwrap this carefully here, and I'll get some close-up shots while I'm doing this. Okay, this is the lightsaber, which I'm going to assume it goes this way. Okay, now I'm trying to see if it said if it came with batteries. I don't know if it did. It does look like it. There is a battery cover here, so I'm going to quickly undo this because I don't see any other batteries here. Let's see if there's anything in there already. If not, that's okay. It still looks cool as a come on there, buddy. As I said, there was a whole series of I gotta say, if these came with batteries, I think it looks like there's corrosion on the inside. So I'm thinking that that did come with batteries, but the batteries have since been eroded. So sorry to say, and that is a sad truth sometimes with certain collectibles. And this is another thing about when you're buying toys or anything that where they include batteries in them, you got to be extra careful not to just be really safe not to to leave them in, because they will eventually die out and then they will eventually go. Although now that I'm thinking about it, this might not be meant for battery. This might instead, the lightsaber is placed on the back of the phone box. Then you can put it like that. Doesn't say that it lights up. So I think what that is essentially is actually a thing for you to utilize it as a screw. I don't believe, or either that, or maybe it was gonna be for batteries and they opted against it and they just filled it in because it did seem a little weird. It was just like it was almost like a glue that they did. So I wasn't exactly sure why that was. But anyway, I do not intend to hang this up. I've decided, because in my basement area I have very little wall space. So I do not want to do that, but I will place him fondly over here, and I will probably get him onto a secure shelf at some point. But it's a really cool thing. They actually released a lot of these different either movie posters or things that were posters, and they came out pretty cool. So it's a nice little three-dimensional thing. It's very heavy, so wherever you put it, make sure you have a safe space, okay? For safe space, I'll probably end up putting it here on the side. Okay, so let's move on to our two Force Awakens figures. I will say in the past, I have kept a couple of the Force Awakens figures, mainly because I love the art on the box. I do love that this movie seemed to involve a lot of excellent design work for the designers who did all this packaging. Obviously, you have your core kind of cool factor character. Sometimes it's Vader, sometimes it's Darth Maul. In this case, it's Kylo Ren. Why is it always the bad guy? I don't know. But this figure is PZ4CO, and I gotta say, I've always been an admirer of PZ4CO, and I'll say why. Because he has this kind of to me, it seems kind of like an evolutionary. Sorry for the crackling. It seems like a rather evolutionary kind of thing for the figure itself. Let me just make sure that I'm not seeing anything there. Nope. Okay, good. It has a body similar to that of a protocol droid like C-3PO, but then he has this really tall kind of shapely neck. I don't think. Let me just see if he has any. Okay, PZ4CO is a constant fixture in Resistance base control rooms, offering tactical data and communication support during informant operations. So, he has a backstory, and I think these little. I'm not exactly sure what these things are. I think they might be meant to be I think they're like pieces to these. Everything was like a segment to something else. So I'll look for them and see what's out there, but I don't know if he. Yeah, this is coming from a different thing. I might have to go back and try to find all the pieces and try to put the set together. But he's just a figure. Okay, he doesn't really come with his own thing. Oh wait, or maybe he does. Oh, I see. Okay, so I'll keep all this together. But it looks like I think they kind of design it so that he can actually hold the figures or hold the things by themselves. But I'm gonna keep them over here and save them and join them with the other stuff, because I didn't open up a lot of the Force Awakens figures that came with items. But PZ is really cool. I like his color scheme. I just like the, he almost has a General Grievous look to his face. So I'll put that kind of in the front. I'm not going to do any close-up shots of the extra material because I'm not planning on putting them together just yet. All right, and then we have Sarko Plank, a scavenger and trader who scours frontier worlds for riches. Sarko Plank must wear a specialized mask that keeps his native atmosphere circulating through his alien lungs. So there you go, another character made. I think this made a brief appearance in The Force Awakens, kind of a blink and you miss him kind of thing, which is fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, people sometimes complain, but why do they make a figure of that and they don't make a figure of so much such and such? Honestly, I feel like the only time, historically speaking, that was ever really a thing, like a real anger to fans, long term, was when the Star Wars, the original Star Wars came out and they never made a Grand Moff Tarkin figure. Other than that, I feel like as kids we were fine. We got everything we needed. It's just that Grand Moff Tarkin was really the villain, the ultimate villain. Vader was kind of his stooge in Episode 4. So to have him not have a figure just seemed odd. Okay, but this figure is cool, and I like the 5-point articulation because I don't know. This throws me back. The legs, the legs kind of like. Because it's 5-point, they just made a hard kind of robe on him, and they just cut the robe in half, and he just moves his legs like that. Comes with an interesting kind of a flat barrel weapon, so that's really cool. And he's got his breathing apparatus on, so cool. I have to say, I've always had a love for the ancillary characters in figure form, and the reason for that is that as a kid, I just remembered, when you got your figures. First of all, a lot of times going to the store, and again, kids, be aware, when no internet back in the 70s and early 80s, you had to get up and go to a store. The good thing is that there were a lot of stores. There was, Toys R Us. There were all sorts of small toy chains and small toy stores. KB Toy Hobby, which was in the malls. There were always places to go to find Star Wars toys, and there were always toy sections in big department stores like Macy's and JCPenney and some lesser-known ones. Some people around from my neck of the woods might remember Barker's or Dunham's or Orr's or Jamesway. These are some of the places that I bought most of my Star Wars collection in the 70s and early 80s. And, a lot of times, though, the more popular figures, Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, Han Solo, Princess Leia, would all not be on the shelves. But so you go there, you wanted to get something, so you'd pick up a Walrus Man, or a Hammerhead, or a Snaggletooth, or a Bespin Guard, or a Royal Guard, or an Endor Trooper when Return of the Jedi came out. There was tons of alien figures everywhere, and a lot of times people didn't know what they were, so they left them there, and sometimes they were on sale, so you could buy two for what you don't really be able to buy one. So we got these figures. All these aliens, all these weird creatures that we didn't see completely in the movie. Maybe just saw them in passing. And remember, no DVD, no Blu-ray, no streaming, maybe a bootleg videotape at first. It wasn't until I think 82 that the first video cassette for Star Wars came out. So we had to go from our imagination, or maybe playing the Story of Star Wars album, where they would have stuff from the dialogue and music and kind of a condensed 45-minute version of the movie on a record. That was it. That's all you got. So you had to use your imagination, maybe reading the comic books. And when you got these figures, you create your own adventures. And these guys, while they may have had no lines in the film, and while they may have had, very much again, blink and you miss them screen time, these could have been the things that as children we would have had crazy amounts of adventures with. And they could have been the most, and some, the cooler they were, the cooler they looked, the more excited we got of them. That's why Boba Fett, I believe, has had such a following, because he was just such a cool looking character. And he didn't do much in Empire Strikes Back. He did a little bit, and he didn't do very much at all in Return of the Jedi. But there you go. He was where we have since created so many stories in our head. And look at now, all of us as kids are now adults, and many of us have gone into the film industry and have become people like Jon Favreau, J.J. Abrams, and these people are making Star Wars, and they're kind of doing the same thing, and it's kind of cool. So I like that. All right, so let's talk product promotion. M&M's and Star Wars. Why this wasn't a thing before 2005, I will never know. Especially since they had these great characters. But, of course, it became a little promotion. It was not a full-time thing. It didn't go forever. It only went for maybe a few months. But they created figures. And again, when I say figures, more like figurines. Let me just get these guys out. Have our three little, oh my goodness, gonna have to break out the I'm gonna go backwards. And by the way, this is why I totally support Hasbro going with no more plastic in their packaging, because all that's getting thrown away, and that's a waste. Okay, so maybe this could be salvaged as a piece of cardboard and put in recycling or something, but everything else is getting tossed. I totally applaud Hasbro for doing that. That's been in the news. I mentioned it in previous episodes. So I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of stuff they come up with. But anyway, back to here. The kind of thing was called the Empire, as in M&M Empire. And, you know, they came with these little figurines. I call them figurines because they essentially were just, you know, not movable, no points of articulation, just cute little statuettes of them. All right, and I decided to keep the, there was a 3-pack. I figured, well, if I'm going to keep one, I'll keep the 3-pack. And it was R2 and 3PO. And R2's a little blue M&M. 3PO is a little yellow M&M. And Queen Amidala, who was the green M&M. All right, so they have these nice little things. Again, they don't take up too much room. Okay, so you could probably find these on eBay and other places for very little money. So, you know, they're a really cool kind of, and again, these kind of things are what tell me stories, not just about Star Wars, but they tell me stories about what was going on in the world at the time that these things came out. I'll always remember that the Star Wars M&Ms came out in 2005. And the other thing that came out with that, it wasn't just about combining M&Ms and Star Wars characters. They also came out with dark chocolate M&Ms for the first time, which was a new thing. And I think I'm pretty sure they introduced them with the Star Wars characters. Kind of like Dark Side, find the dark side. They use that kind of promotion. So really cool thing. Really happy to have a few remnants of it. But that's the kind of thing I'm learning now, guys. And as a collector, I strongly recommend this. You don't, take the word completist and toss it out the window. You do not need to be a completist. A completist is just somebody who is trying to chase something down that really doesn't need to be chased down. Okay? Now, having said that, I get it. If you want to collect a series of figures, okay, and there are 8 in the series, and you've got 6, 7, but you don't have that 8th one, the thrill of the hunt is important, and I understand that. That's not what I'm talking about, though. I'm talking about a situation where a franchise as big as Star Wars, where there's literally everything in the world. You name it, pretty much, it has Star Wars, the label of Star Wars has been smacked on it. There comes a point where, why? Well, what's the point? What is the point of that? You have to ask yourself, why are you doing that? Do you really like it? Okay, fine. Another case in point, I just got an email advertisement today that they're really pushing for Star Wars toasters. Okay, I have one Star Wars toaster, it has Darth Vader on it. It was actually given to me as a gift. I don't use it. I just kind of put it on display because it's kind of shaped like Darth Vader and that kind of thing. In order for it to make a Darth Vader imprint on the toast, it has to literally burn the toast. So I'm not a big fan of that. Well, they have now come up with like 5 Star Wars toasters. A 3PO toaster, a Boba Fett toaster, a Chewbacca toaster, an R2-D2 toaster, and a Vader toaster. I think it was at a 5. Now I ask people, do you think I want to collect 5 toasters? What am I going to do with 5 toasters? They're going to sit on a shelf? I mean, yes, maybe some people for the case who want to have everything, fine, but 5 toasters is not something I need. So, but I have one. So I kind of collect little bits and pieces, take them off the shelf. It's far less expensive, and it's a lot more fun. Okay, so let's finish our unboxing today with the Titanium die-cast series Darth Vader TIE Fighter. TIE Advanced Fighter. Okay, I'm going to move you guys over here for the moment. All right. Really cool. Obviously, the titanium. I've opened up some of these in the past. The titanium series was something that was really cool. They have since kind of revisited it, but kind of and yet not really. But they were doing die-cast, as I've said on previous episodes. They've been doing die-cast figures of a lot of the characters, and it's been great. I will say, without any aversion, sorry there, PZ, that I've enjoyed the stuff that they did. But I will say that I'm kind of glad it ended because, again, you can't collect everything. This was put out by Galoob and Micro Machines. Okay, and I believe the year was 2006. Okay, so I'm pretty close to our M&M fellas there. Lots of interesting. The boxing on these things is just unbelievable. Like when you think about how much they had to do to get this thing. I remember the last time I did this, I tried to be real nice and neat, and at the end of it, I just ended up having to destroy the whole thing. So that's kind of what I'm doing. Sorry. Sometimes they're like, oh, you can keep the box for like a backdrop. I'm like, that defeats the purpose. It defeats the purpose. Totally. Okay. All right. So that's this. I like the catalogs. I usually like to keep catalogs just because, again, it's kind of a nostalgic thing. All right. Pardon the noise. I'm going to throw this over here to get it out of the way. Get over there. Thank you. All right. Now, this is nice, but this thing has some damage on it. It's got some scuff marks because they had price tag, like sale tag. So I'm actually going to unload this and just open up the actual ship itself, if I can get it to open here. They had this 3-screw kind of mechanism on the bottom. Unfortunately, my screw is a little bit small here. Let me see if I have a bigger one. Do you have it? Nope, it's actually a smaller one. Yeah, I don't have any other ones. All right, let's see what I can do here. And again, they came up with titanium. Came up with ones from smaller vehicles, and now like the Hot Wheels kind of is responsible for doing them. But these guys were essentially they did a handful. I know they had you see, it's hard to say. Like most of the vehicles, they have a ton of titanium vehicles. In fact, maybe what I'll try to do is I will try to do my shelf talk on titanium. The problem with it is that my people were asking me, "Oh, you love your shelf talk," But the problem with shelf talks is that there's just a lot of. These are like really, really hard to do. The problem with shelf talk is that there's just a lot of space that it's hard to get a full out space there. You'll see, if you can see the bottom of it, you'll see that it's starting to. This guy's really. Come on there, dude. There we go. There's one left. All right, one left. Let me try to do it upside down because I think the weight of it is kind of getting in its way. Okay, well, before we do that, let me do this. Come on there, dude. There it is. All right, helps if I can have a handle on it. All right. Okay. I was having some serious trouble. About 20 minutes have gone by, and in those 20 minutes, I literally had to break the bottom of this thing off. No screwdriver would happen. I even tried to hacksaw it, and it wasn't working. So I literally just had to kind of bend it slowly until the metal itself kind of yanked out. I think I might have even done a little damage on the bottom of this. But it's okay because, again, these are just my collectibles. They are worth a lot to me, and I don't plan on getting rid of them. And once I'm gone and somebody wants to buy them, they can buy them in bulk. I don't care. Anyway, so we have Darth Vader's TIE Fighter. It does have some twist ties on the wings because I do believe the wings come off. I've decided not to bother with that. I'm going to keep it on just because I really do like this. Again, because it's titanium. Now, titanium is kind of a name, a title. I just think that they're like a metal, like a die-cast metal, but they are very heavy. There's a lot of weight to these. Similarly to the Elite Series figures that Disney puts out, those 6.5, 7, 8-inch figures. But it really is cool. It has a neat little cockpit lid that comes open and Vader's sitting on the inside. So really nice. And again, this for me is something that harkens back to a set of diecast vehicles that came out. And I really enjoyed them. They were really, really fun. They're really, really cool. They came out in the 70s. It was really only like a set of like 8 or 9 of them. And this is kind of similar in size, a little bit smaller. But this idea is kind of nice. So I really enjoyed them. So, so we have our Darth Vader TIE Advanced. We have our 2 Force Awakens figures. We have our 3 M&Ms. And we have our Revenge of the Sith Darth Vader poster, kind of 3-dimensional pop-out poster. So all in all, some pretty cool stuff. A nice little sampling of things that have come out over the last 15 years. And it's amazing to think that. It's amazing to think that Star Wars has become something that's now 40 years going, 40 years old. There are a lot of things, when you think about it, that haven't lasted 40 years. Other franchises, other things that, things have gone and come and gone, but Star Wars really never went away. There was only about a 6-year gap. And even during that 6-year gap, there was stuff going on. A lot of people don't realize that. The last movie came out in 83. But in 84, there were still figures. 85, there were still figures. Also in 85 came out the Droids and Ewoks Saturday morning cartoon. There were figures in 85 and 86 that came out for that. Then in 1987, Star Tours opened in Disneyland, and then in 1989, it opened in Disney World. Then in the early 90s, Timothy Zahn had the book, Heir to the Empire, along with the Star Wars Bendham figures that came out. And that kind of kept whetted our appetite for more Star Wars until 1994, when Hasbro and Kenner started reproducing figures. So and then the rest hasn't been it's been a non-stop go. So Star Wars is alive and well. I'm really excited about it, as you can see. So I'm really looking forward to what's coming next. Somebody put out a thing on the internet, kind of like a listing, starting on, I guess, I want to say Force Friday, which is October 4th, which I fully hope that and intend that we will have a live, or I don't know if I can do live because I'm not allowed to do live on mobile, but we might be able to do a stream, or at least a recorded episode that kind of shows us seeing what's out there at the Midnight Madness that is called Triple Force Friday. But from then, there is literally something going on just about every week of the entire rest of 2019 and almost all of 2020. Whether it is a Resistance episode, The Mandalorian, the Rise of Skywalker, the new Clone Wars season, and each of them coming out week by week by week. Okay, Star Wars Celebration in Anaheim, and more growth to Galaxy's Edge coming with the Rise of the Resistance. There's just so much to look forward to, and we don't even know what's going to happen a year, 2, 3, 4, 5 down the road. So, really cool. But I do like looking on the past and seeing the things that kind of kept the interest going, even something as mundane as M&Ms. So, really cool. So thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, share, hit the notification button. I am starting to get I'm getting some subscribers here. Let people know about it. Leave comments. I have a lot more comments this week. Thank you so much. Continue to leave comments. If there's something that you would, what's your favorite Star Wars toy? What's your favorite Star Wars memory? Let's put that one out there. Like, is there a commercial? Was there a specific product that you just loved? Talk about that in the comments. All right, I'd love to hear about it. So, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, may the Force be with you.